Hello my lovely people, it's Grace here, Bike Andonia, and I am here to give you a little bit of an update on the KLX230 clutch situation. Now, if you completely missed that there was a KLX clutch situation, I don't blame you because I didn't make a big deal of it in the last couple of videos because I had no idea what was going on or why. New bike, 220 kilometers on it, the first service interval is 1,000 kilometers, and just normal off-road riding. It's meant to be an off-road bike, and then all of a sudden my clutch is toast. Now everybody has helpfully explained to me that this is obviously because of my bad riding, and they've judiciously spelt out for me how I have to fully engage and disengage the clutch instead of riding it all the time. However, I would beg to differ on this point because you would have thought in the last 20 years, if I killed clutches, I would have killed one before, right? I have never killed a clutch before. I've never had a clutch problem before. My KTM 690 Enduro, I got 90,000 kilometers out of that clutch before it started to slip. And that was a mix of on-road and off-road. So historically, I am super gentle on my clutches. So I have no idea what was going on with the KLX. But anyway, now the clutch is fixed and I'm on my way to go and pick up the bike. So we're going to go and we're going to talk to PI, who is supposedly one of the foremost authorities on KLXs here in Chiang Mai. It's pretty much all he does is work on KLXs. So I'm going to go down there, I'm going to see what he's done, I'm going to see what the verdict is, and hopefully we'll have some answers. So here we are at PEI's workshop, and as you can see there are more than a few KLXs in this shop at the moment in various stages of modification, disassembly and repair. If you have a problem with a KLX, you're going to go to the guy who knows KLXs backwards. So here we are. And there right in front we can see my very own beastie. Now it's not quite ready yet. Come around the other side of the bike and in just a second you will see that my clutch plates are hanging on my foot peg. There we go. So obviously not going anywhere in a hurry. As you might have guessed, we are replacing all of those clutch plates and full oil change, as well as getting PI to sort out the problem I was having with the really high idle. Now, nobody knows for sure why and how my clutch ended up toast, but there have been a few theories flying around. One of these theories is that the running in oil that they put in the bike for the first 1,000 kilometers has slightly different properties than your usual engine oil, and that might have contributed to the problem. However, nobody's really been able to nail down for me exactly why and how that would have been the case, so it's an open question. I am leaning towards the theory that my clutch cable was just not correctly adjusted. I just don't think there was enough free play there after we went through the process of changing out the stock levers for aftermarket levers. Now we did this because we fitted a Chervis handguards to protect the levers, but the stock Kawasaki levers are really long, so they wouldn't fit inside the handguards, and that's why we ended up changing the levers. Now I think the lever adjustment has just had not quite enough free play, and this has led to extra wear on the clutch. Normally, I'm pretty attuned to whether something just doesn't feel right on the bike, but if I've never ridden it before, then I don't have a baseline to compare it to. I definitely should have noticed if there wasn't enough free play, but in this case, it's my fault, I didn't. Obviously, I've now adjusted the cables and the levers appropriately, and I'm also going to rotate the lever downwards to make it more comfortable to pull it in when I'm in a standing position. Okay, well, I am back with my beloved now, and as you can see, I now have a manual idle adjuster, which is such a relief. So apparently Kawasaki had this brilliant idea where they were going to up the idle in second and third gears to make it more difficult for beginner riders to stall the bike. Now, as I mentioned before, the only effect this had for me was making it really bloody difficult to ride down a hill without dying in second gear. So I am absolutely stoked to now have the manual adjuster. You disconnect the sensor, you wrap it up in some electrical tape, stick it up there beside the fuel tank, and replace it with this little screw. Now, as well as replacing it with the manual adjuster, you have to change out the spring on the manual adjuster because the one it comes with is really, really stiff. It's going to give you the wrong adjustment. So put a softer spring on the manual adjuster, stick the manual adjuster on, and you're good to go. Suddenly the bike is no longer trying to kill you by accelerating downhill in second gear. Okay, so I am out in the forest. I have been testing out the bike, and I have to tell you, now that the idle adjustment issue is fixed, it is like a new bike. Super chill to ride. I'm absolutely loving it. The idle was running crazy high before on the stock settings, and it can't have been good for the engine. However, I have a few more ergonomic adjustments to make. Okay, so I've been out riding the bike. I think there is one more adjustment I need to make, and this is actually one that Chris Birch was telling me about many years ago. And as usual, Chris Birch is dead right. So the adjustment needs to be made to my clutch assembly here. I need to rotate the whole lever assembly to point it downwards a bit more, because here's the thing, I'm riding this bike standing up most of the time during the gnarly stuff, and having my wrist bent like this is not what we want to be doing, because when I use two fingers to pull the clutch in, then the clutch hits the knuckle on my second finger. Now, the way I think this ended up in all the wrong position is because I had the new ergonomics handguards installed, and they have a thicker bit that goes right along the middle of the handguard. It's the bit where it's reinforced, so that makes sense. But you want your lever tip to be either above or below that reinforced bit, because otherwise it's going to touch. Now, instead of putting my lever below the reinforced bit, the guys have put it above the reinforced bit. And so that means that when I'm riding along, I'm standing up, and instead of having a nice straight line down to the clutch, pulling the clutch in, I'm having to bend my wrist like this and pull the clutch in like that. Now, I don't know if you can really see behind me, but this bike does not look like a new bike anymore. It is all scratched up to hell and back. Mostly from my boots on the plastic, from my enduro boots, but also a fair bit on the ergonomics handguards because they've been doing their job. And I don't regret it a bit, because bikes are meant to be ridden. You will not find me there every weekend washing my bike, waxing it, polishing it up. Maybe if I had a Panigale I might, but chances of me ever having a Panigale and needing to worry about that, pretty much zero. Anyway, if you're still with me by this stage of the video, it's probably because you have a KLX230 and you've been trying to troubleshoot it and iron out those initial gremlins, get it set up the way you want. So in that case, good luck, get out there, ride it, enjoy it. If I come across any other brilliant insights, I will let you know.